Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. This is your host, Chet Sears. With me, as always, is Troy, Three-Shot Trussell, Matt the Marine, Amos.
Is that his new nickname?
No, maybe not.
Marine.
It is for today.
It's not a nickname. It's just who I am.
That's true. There's a lot of truth to that.
We've got an exciting show for you today. Troy's going to give us what's on his mind. We're going to cover the top 3 moments in baseball history, according to us. And Matt's going to close us out with a good word from the Blue Chosen book, 40 Days with Jesus. Before we get to what's on your mind.
Yeah, what's up?
Did you guys hear about this cheating scandal last week?
The very first thing I thought was Chet.
What?
I was like, he finally got caught.
I got to win a tournament before I cheat.
Hey, it doesn't matter where you're at. The first thing I thought.
You know what I'm talking about?
You can cheat on a lot of things. So what kind of cheating are we talking about?
So these dudes in the Lake Erie Walleye Trail.
Oh, okay.
Professional walleye fisherman tour, the LEWT, Lake Erie Walleye Tour, LEWT. The LEWT. They've been winning like a lot over the last few years. This pair, these guys, Jake Runyon and Chase Comiskey, and they're like, oh, these guys are dominating. Like, what are they doing fishing Lake Erie? How are they catching?
How are they doing
so many
it
big
so
fish?
well?
And they ended up won a lot last year. Like won a boat, won thousands. I've heard different estimates. Some people were saying hundreds of thousands of dollars. I doubt that, but thousands of dollars plus a boat. You know, boats are going 50, 60,000. So you probably get to over $100,000 pretty quickly for a whole season last year. And then this year they were dominating. And this was one of the last tournaments they were up for the season championship. Like, if they finished in 6th place, they'd win the season championship. And they clearly had the heaviest fish that they weighed, and like by pounds over everybody else. But you only get to weigh the top 5 fish. And they all looked. Did you see the video?
Yep.
Dude, they all looked about the same size as some of the other guys' catches, but they came in like I watched a stringer being weighed, and they had 5 good-sized fish, looked like 27, 28, 30 inches, I don't know. And they were like, oh, it's 24 pounds. And then these dudes put their 5 fish up there, and it was like 37, 30 something.
Yeah, I didn't see the total.
It was in the 30s.
I just saw him gutting fish.
And then the tournament guy, I watched the last 15 minutes of the weigh-in, and there are some people that are like, wait a minute, like this doesn't seem right. And then they went and whispered to the tournament chair, and the tournament chair's like, hey guys, can you come back over here? And then one of the guys came back with their bag of fish, and they're fishing in like 72 foot of water. This isn't like a catch and release deal. These fish are gone right there. And so he grabbed a fish out of that bag, and this is all continuous video, and he takes that thing and cuts its belly open and reaches down in there, and there's like 3 or 4 ounce lead sinkers in the belly of the fish. And he's like, we got some lead in here, boys. And then it gets a little dicey. Like they start listen here, you MF, blah, 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 cheater, and then the whole crowd just came up, and they're like, call the cops, and then he's like, you guys got to leave for your safety. Like it went crazy. But anyway, what they were doing, and apparently I guess the assumption would be if they started cheating now, they've been cheating to get all these wins.
Right. So they've been
there's no way
backtracking them.
There's no way to prove that. And now this is like, of course, when we're recording this, it's a little bit earlier than when it's releasing, but there's been an investigation opened by the local Wildlife and Fisheries. They've turned all the evidence over to the county prosecutor, so they could be pressing charges, because one of the dudes on the video is like, this is theft, like you are stealing tournament winnings because of your cheating. But they cut open every fish. Every fish had weights, and they were wrapping the sinkers in fillets of other fish, so that if you felt them, it would just feel fishy and not like a big lump of a weight there. Wow. So they had it down to a science. Yeah.
Or
And
art.
So it wasn't the first time they'd done it.
no, well,
Yeah.
and then this, of course, this is all coming out, and I went down the rabbit trail, but the dude was on a guest on a local, like a Northeast fishing show, like a walleye, your Bill Dance kind of thing, but for walleye. And he was like, man, you guys have had a really good run. He's like, yeah, we've been doing really well. We kind of got it down. And, well, it looks like you may end up winning the championship again this year. And he's like, oh, I'm almost guarantee it. Like he's just talking trash. And this was like a week before the tournament.
Oh,
yeah, we got it down. We know what we're doing. I can almost guarantee that we're going to win. You're just talking trash like, oh, we're the best thing that ever was. And, pride comes before the fall. And that dude is just standing there, like staring down the whole time this is happening right out in front of him. He didn't say a word. He's just like,
His whole life is flashing before his eyes.
His
He's
partner didn't come running up there to help him out either,
Oh, no, he's probably running for the hills.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And those dudes got upset, man. The other people. And because then they're like, I've been losing to you guys for 2 years. Like, and you're bragging, you're taking all this money, you're winning all these boats. Dude, you need to go check it out. Don't watch it around your kids though. There's some choice language.
Oh, I'm sure.
Bunch of Lake Erie fishermen.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt. What's on your mind?
No, that's good, man. Yeah, so about a year ago, my wife came to me and she was like, hey, you're going to have to put the kids to bed. I'm buying these early tickets to this movie. I'm going to go check out this movie because she likes to go to the movie from time to time by herself.
Yeah.
It's kind of just therapy for
get
her.
away.
From the kids, because she's a stay-at-home mom. But so I was like, yeah, sure. So she went and saw this movie and came home, and I asked her how it was. She kind of raved about it, but she was telling me, like, yeah, people have been waiting for this movie for 30 years. And I was like, really? What's so important about it,
Mm-hmm.
And it was this book written back in 1991 by this Christian author. She writes like Christian romance novels.
Okay.
From what
I don't know.
from the research that
right,
I've done.
Right. Matt probably does.
Yeah.
Is that your genre?
romance is number one in my book.
Yeah. So her name's Francine Rivers. She writes a lot of novels. Matt's read her whole collection there, right, by Stephen King, right? But she's a best-selling author, been writing books for a long time. But so fast forward a year, the movie came out on Prime, and she's like, oh, you're not going to like it, whatever. I was like, well, you can watch whatever you want tonight because I'm going to be sitting here working because I do a lot of late-night editing from time to time. And so she starts watching this movie, and it's called Redeeming Love, and it's about it's kind of based on the book of Hosea.
Okay.
Where Hosea,
was this a Western?
it's set in the gold rush age, like
I think I know what you're talking about.
The Old West, the gold rush age. But people would, from what I gathered from the film, people would try to go find gold in the river so they could bring it into town and sleep with the prostitute called Angel. She was like this, like everybody wanted to be with Angel.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm watching this. I was like, oh, this is that book you read? And because it's pretty risque,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, whatever, So I've kind of get sucked into it, and I'm watching it, and so then I'm putting the pieces together, like, oh, is this pulled like is this like Hosea?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, she's a Christian author and bases all of her things on the Bible.
Right.
So we get through and we're watching it, and I gotta say that Christian films, I feel like have come a long way. Like,
well, was this produced by a Christian film company, or was this a secular film company that just picked up on a Christian book?
It is a Christian company. So there were like 3 or 4 different companies that came in to produce it. The top one was, have you heard of PureFlix?
Is that the company that does the same actors in all the movies that are sports based?
No, those are the whoever brothers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, No, they're the ones that did Flywheel and a couple of the other ones that.
I start watching one and then I'm thinking I've seen this before, but then I hadn't seen it before, but it's the same actors in the one I've seen before, so I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of.
Yeah, one of them's in all of those, and I think those are. To me, it's a lot like Christian music, and I think we've talked about that on the show. How back in the '80s wasn't that great. We have mixed opinions on that, but then it got better and better.
Mm-hmm. Until where now it's just like.
Well, until now, like I listen to the bands that are believers that are making music.
Just not on the radio.
That are just not all praise and worship, all on the radio. I was talking to my neighbor last night. He was like, Can we just stop drowning? It's like drowning and burning. It's all the Christian praise and worship is. Drowning in the Holy Spirit or burning. It was pretty funny. We were talking about that. I'm dogging on it, but I do love
you're third day and you're burning in a consuming fire.
Yeah, all consuming fires and drowning in the ocean, and
you don't even know what we're talking about.
No.
Yeah,
he's blank stare.
Right.
I figured he wouldn't contribute much to this. He did his one joke and now he's out.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's out. But no, now Pure Flix Entertainment is what they used to be called. Now they're called Pinnacle Peak Pictures.
Pinnacle Peak.
Like Peak.
Pinnacle Peak. So peak.
Pinnacle Peak.
Doesn't
Pictures.
Pinnacle mean peak?
PPP. I wonder if they got that long.
Triple
yeah,
P.
that's how they got.
I may have, because they produce quite a few films.
So is this the same Pure Flix that you can subscribe to, and then they've got the library of?
I think so. Yeah, it's the same company. But here's where I'm going to get Matt, because
You're getting mad or Matt
into the conversation.
He's getting ready to bring me on board.
Yeah.
Let's see what it is.
Because in 2015 they produced that movie called Woodlawn.
Oh yeah, that
was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
One of Matt's favorite movies.
Based on Matt's recommendation, I was thumbing through the $3 bin at Walmart, the DVD bin.
Yeah.
And I got that and brought it up to the deer camp. So we have Woodlawn at the deer camp.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That is a Pure Flix Entertainment production right there.
A synonym for Pinnacle is Peak.
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 Or Pinnacle.
Pinnacle.
Peak Productions.
Unless it's a Pinnacle golf ball.
Ah.
It's a brand of golf ball.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I've lost quite a few of those.
I've found quite a few of those. I've never bought one.
Yeah.
I'm more of a top flight kind of guy.
Anyway, so if you look at this, if you look at their movie list, right, of this Peak Pictures, they've done God's Not Dead, Do You Believe, which I haven't seen, Woodlawn, which Matt raves about, The Case for Christ, which is a really good documentary style video.
Lee Strobel. I mean, that was a really good book from a really good news reporter.
Right. And the movie that they did for him, really good if you haven't seen it. And then they did Unplanned, which is about abortion. That was their most recent in 2019. And then they did Redeeming Love.
This is not the company that I'm thinking about.
No.
Yeah.
You're thinking of a different one. That's the brothers.
Yeah. That's what you said earlier.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Did you just circle back there?
I did. I circled back.
Yeah. So Redeeming Love, I will say, it
don't watch it with your kids.
Definitely don't watch it with your kids. I would say I think it's PG-13.
To the Bible's to the point of the Bible. The Bible's not PG. The Bible's rated R.
Right. No, I found myself. We were reading the story of Joseph the other day to my kids, and I don't hide anything from the Bible to them. I just.
But you also don't sit down and read Song of Solomon.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But if we're reading about David and he cuts Goliath's head off, we're going to talk about it.
Right.
And Joseph's brothers were evil, and
we're going through Judges
at church. Yeah, it's rough.
That's bad stuff in there.
Lost his sword.
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, we were reading the story of Joseph, and his brothers were evil, and because my kids were just getting on each other, I was like, let's sit down and read about Joseph tonight. So. But yeah, the Redeeming Love, I'm pretty sure it's PG-13. Even my wife and I fast forward a little bit of the sexual stuff. They don't get into really big detail about. You know that she's a prostitute, and there's some violent stuff going on in the whorehouse down Old West downtown. But I mean, just a really good film.
Did they call it a whorehouse?
I can't remember. I think they called it a brothel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How do you know? Huh? Have you seen this?
No.
Huh?
No.
He's watching it right now on his phone.
Yeah. He's downloading it.
Yep. For later.
Why don't you download Lord of the Rings?
No.
He's going to come back and be like, that Redeeming Love, that was a good movie, guys.
He's trying to be cool.
Lord of the Rings.
Well, I was just wondering because you said it was based in the like the Gold Rush, and that's what they were doing. And I mean, I collect, for better or worse, brothel tokens. So I probably
for better or worse.
I probably have one.
For better.
Oh man,
they're good on date night.
What is a brothel? Is it like a sticker that you put on your
what?
Like today, everybody buys stickers and puts on their cooler when they've been somewhere. Is a brothel coin like that era's sticker? Like I've been to this brothel.
I believe the history of it is it was illegal to, and I don't know. I don't even want to get into that. I'm just because I'd be guessing. But
an alternative form of payment. So you would buy tokens and use tokens.
Yes.
Okay.
Like
all right.
Good for one bath.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that. One. I can't remember. There's some interesting ones from back then.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just wanted to point out that the Christian movie industry is seemingly getting better in their production quality, the stories that they're choosing to put out there.
Yeah.
The ones that the brothers do, I kind of got turned away after their third film. After, like, the stories are really great, and you're sobbing your eyes out at the end because it's just so powerful. But it's like, I don't want to have to fight tears through this emotional wreck of a movie, this whole time. That's not what I go to the theater for.
Yeah.
Right. That's not what I really want to watch a movie for.
Yeah.
I want to watch a movie to be entertained and to be taken off to some
distant, far away place.
Like Middle Earth or a galaxy far, far away.
Right.
Yeah.
Matt
wouldn't know anything about those two places.
Know what Middle Earth is.
I'm just trying to think of what a Christian like Star Wars movie or sci-fi would look like.
I don't know.
The Matrix.
He is the one.
There's some symbolism there.
There is some symbolism, yeah. Because he's outside of the system. No, I trust me. I've thought about that one a lot because I do. I mean, like The Matrix is one of the only sci-fi like movies that I really do enjoy.
Yeah, it's down to I can't remember. It's a long time ago. There was like even an old bearded man in the hallway when he went to see the Oracle, and he had a big wooden staff and he hit it on the floor, and then the elevator doors split open. Oh, this Moses! I don't know.
Nice.
You could read a little bit too much into that.
Yeah,
because they've since come out and said one of the Wachowski sisters now that story is about transitioning into changing your sex.
Oh,
so
nice.
The complete opposite of any kind of spiritual symbolism.
Yeah. Well, if you like romance movies, Redeeming Love's a good one. Pulled right loosely pulled from Hosea of the Bible.
All right. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back, and we'll talk about the top 3 moments in baseball history.
At Admiral's Pennant, our mission is to offer the latest and refined, high-quality masculine products and services to the modern gentleman, as well as provide him with the tools and products necessary to look, act, and feel confident in his appearance and social interactions. Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
And we are back. Matt, top 3 moments in baseball history.
Top 3. Oh, let's see. I actually have these in order this time.
Okay.
The number 3 would be World Series Game 5 when the Kansas City Royals rallied to win the World Series.
Okay.
Going into the night.
What year?
2015 or 15.
Oh.
So.
Recent.
Well, I mean, now we're 7 years removed.
Yeah, and several losing seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
that's recent.
Because
you hang on to that last
the most
one, baby.
recent Royals World Series.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we gave away all the people that won that World Series, so they all went to other places probably to make more money. But they were like, they were playing the Mets, and it was 0-2 in the ninth, I think, and then they got it tied, and then it got to the 12th, and then they just went on like this hitting rally and ended up winning by a pretty large margin. It was, I watched that game live, and I haven't been excited about baseball in a long, long time. Ever since they went on strike, that's when I quit watching baseball altogether.
Right.
And so this was like my first introduction back into something besides if I go to a live game, I'll go to a live game because I enjoy doing that. But watching on TV and
not a fan,
just not a fan of it. But so that's the first one to sit there and just be pretty excited about that ball game.
Yeah. So I felt good about the Royals in the World Series in 2015 just because, you know, all the Kansas City teams have sucked for such a long time.
Yeah.
That the Chiefs started. It was. They kind of had a little bit of a glimmer of hope with Alex. What's his face? Smith, the quarterback.
Yep.
And then you got the playoff run with the Royals, and everybody was like, all of a sudden, all the Kansas City fans, the diehards, were like, "Oh, it's gonna happen
finally!"
And then everybody jumped on the train when they won.
Yeah, that's okay.
It happens,
and they did for a while, and now, and I'm guilty of it with the Royals. You know, the Chiefs has been kind of a whole life thing, but the Royals kind of whatever, you know, because I really never got to go to a whole bunch of games as a kid.
Yeah,
you know, and then when I got to the Marine Corps, the Padres they'd have us out
all the time,
and so I became, you know, I really love the Padres and everything that they do, but you know, come back home and having the home team win, and that was pretty cool. Number 2. And this might make some of your guys' lists, maybe.
Probably not.
Would be the 1988 World Series, Game 1.
Kirk Gibson?
When a broken down Kirk Gibson.
Yeah.
I do remember that, though.
And the
fist pump.
Well, it wasn't a fist pump. It was like starting a chainsaw.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But he was just, you know, and then you watch that just hobbling around the bases and just the excitement. I mean, and I'm not even a Dodgers fan, you know, other than when Oral Hershiser pitched for him.
Yeah.
And that's back before the baseball strike. But
Hershiser was there in 88.
Yep.
Yeah. The cool thing about it's not on my list, but the cool thing about that instance was like Kurt wasn't playing.
Right. They called him in.
They had somebody else in the on deck circle, Lasorda, like knew that he was going to do this and totally faked everybody out. Like, so the pitcher wouldn't, I think they had a left-handed person or something. I can't remember, but it was was he a left-handed pitcher? No, I think they had a left-handed batter in the on deck circle. There was some
because Dennis Eckersley was pitching.
Yeah, and he was trying to fool him because Eckersley was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
and so much so that it was like they got that person out, and then the guy in the on deck circle like turned around and the sword was like, you know, do the thing, and then Gibson comes running out of the dugout, and then the guy in the on deck circle goes back into the dugout. So Eckersley's like, you know, and then he gets up there and hits that joker. Hobbles around the bases.
Yeah, it just takes them forever to get around those bases when you watch that video. But that still gives you chills to watch. Just the crowd go nuts, and then him being, you know, all broke up. And then number 1 is the first pitch, World Series Game 3, October 30th, 2001. When George Bush came out and straight threw fire over that mound and the entire stadium goes nuts. And it was at that point, everybody was united. Everybody was having a good time. It was a good moment for New York. It was a good moment for the country. And again, I think that's probably the best by far, even just pitch from a president ever.
They threw heat.
He threw heat. He didn't just
from the rubber.
Yeah, from the actual mound, not in
Yeah.
front of the mound like most.
Yeah.
Like I think it was
Mom jeans.
Obama that couldn't even get it to the plate.
Yeah.
But that dude had arm, and he's baseball family and
Right.
played. But
Yeah, I do remember that. That was good.
that was pretty good. Those are my top 3.
All right.
Good list.
I will go. I have some honorable mentions. Don't let me forget them. Number 3, 1976. Rick Monday.
The flag.
Yes. So they were playing in LA. It was the Cubs versus the Dodgers, and these dudes going out there to light a flag up on fire and protest something. Who knows? And Monday comes sweeping through there and grabs the flag, so they couldn't light it on. They were having trouble like striking a match or something, but he swiped that flag and came running in. And this is his quote. This is pretty interesting. He said, I was angry when I saw them start to do something to the flag, and I'm glad I happened to be geographically close enough to do something about it. And, man, how many times do we have people that are close enough to do something about something, and they don't do anything? So
They get their phone.
Yeah, get the phone out.
Record.
Oh, I got it on video.
But I'm a big fan of that. That was a cool moment, very patriotic moment, something similar to what Matt was talking about. Number 2, the same World Series that Matt just mentioned, between the Yankees and the Diamondbacks. Fast forward, that was Game 3. Fast forward to Game 7. They're in Arizona. Bottom of the 9th. And Luis Gonzalez gets up. In the start of the inning, they were down 2-1, and they had already scored a run to tie it up 2-2. Gonzalez gets up there. There's one out, bases loaded, and Gonzalez has been crushing the ball. He had I don't know how many home runs in that series. The Diamondbacks were just offensive powerhouse that series. But anyway, he hits a little weak blooper over the shortstop's head, drives in the winning run, ends the World Series on a hit, which is pretty awesome. And I think it's cool because I actually had the opportunity to speak at the same conference as Luis Gonzalez, and I got to know him. We would sit back behind the stage room because he would talk after I did. So we're back there together just shooting the breeze, and when it was my time to go up on stage, I'd go up on stage, and then when I'm done, I'd come back, we talk a little bit. Oh, good job, man, and then it was his turn. He'd go out and talk. So anyway, I got to know him. He's a really cool dude. But that was one of those moments. Like he was like, I can't, when he's running, finish getting to first base. It's like I dreamed about this as a kid all my life. But I actually, in my dreams, I was wearing a Yankees uniform instead of a Diamondbacks uniform. But from a kid, he always wanted to play for the Yankees. Ended up beating the Yankees on a walk-off hit in Game 7 of the 9th inning. Dude,
That's awesome.
Every little kid's dream.
And that the video there too, how the crowd goes wild. My number 1, same World Series, Game 3 in New York, George Bush. And what's cool about this is Derek Jeter. So
I was going to mention that. But
so Bush had the body armor on, and he had to wear a jacket over that, so you couldn't see that he had the body armor on. He was a little nervous about. He could throw. He knew he could throw, but he's like, I got to be able to throw it with all this stuff on. And so they have a warm-up area under the bleachers, and they have a little batting cage under the stands there at Yankee Stadium. And so he's down there warming up, and Jeter walks up, and of course Derek Jeter has this kind of a clout just to walk up and say, "Hey, Prez, glad you're here," or whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, thanks." And
better get it over
he's
that
like,
plate.
he said, "Are you gonna throw from in front of the mound or on the rubber?" And he's like, "I don't know. What do you think?" He's like, "This is New York. You throw from the mound. You don't get in front of that mound. They'll boo you. This is New York." He's like, "Okay, well then I'll throw it. I'll throw it from the mound." He said, "Don't forget, if you hop that thing over the plate, they're gonna boo you too." And he's like, I know. He's like, I gotta make sure you get it strike. So all that interaction beforehand, and then he walks out there and just. He threw some heat. And he said that. He's like, you got to be a man. Like, you want to show that we're strong, that we're unified. And then some of the sports writers that were clearly not fans of President Bush said on that day, Like all the stuff that happened after 9/11.
It didn't matter. Yeah.
It was that moment that they were like, okay, we're going to be unified. Like, this is bigger than Bush. It's bigger than this. And, that was pretty cool.
How far we have fallen.
I was going to say back when sports used to unite instead of divide.
Now they divide. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, dude, that series had Mark Grace playing for Arizona. Of course, you had Luis Gonzalez. You had Kurt Schilling.
Cool, Kurt Schilling.
There, and then for the Yankees, you had Clemens. The game World Series winning hit came. He hit against. He was hitting against Mariano Rivera, like their closer, and he that's who he got that hit off of. Of course, they had Jeter and all those other guys there, but that was a great series. Pretty cool.
Did y'all see where Marky Mark shot Jeter?
Yeah, other guys.
You shot Jeter. He's a biracial angel.
Yeah. Oh man, that movie's so good.
All right, Troy.
All right, so let me find my notes here. Number 3. Nolan Ryan's 6th no-hitter.
Mm-hmm.
For years, I thought I was at that game. So, funny story. I literally convinced myself that I was at that game, and I could have sworn I was at that game. But I don't know what prompted me. Like 6 months ago, I was talking about it, and I ended up looking up the date of his 6th no-hitter. I wasn't at that game.
Yeah, were you born?
Yeah, I was born, but because we used to go see him when he played for the Rangers a lot.
Yeah,
at Texas Stadium, and I looked. I think it was like an '86, and his 6th no-hitter was not at that stadium.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, well, I wasn't in wherever.
I've been telling everybody I was there.
I wasn't in Cleveland. But so that's my number 3. Kind of funny, but my whole life
I fell asleep last night watching that Chasing Nolan.
That was a good.
Yeah, they have a documentary on Nolan Ryan on Netflix right now.
Oh, I hadn't seen that. I'll have to check that out.
Brand new.
I haven't finished it.
Oh, nice.
It's super good. Just I don't want to ruin his career, but he did throw 7.
Oh, I know. Yeah, but I could have sworn I was at that 6th.
Yeah,
but I did. We did go watch him pitch a lot, and I loved watching him. I wanted to be him when I was a kid.
We might have crossed paths down there at Ranger Stadium.
Might have. I was there a lot.
That's one of the places that my biological father took me, and we got a tour of the stadium. Like when there was no game, so I got to go down on the field, go through the dugout, and all that kind of stuff. And,
that's fun.
Yeah. Then he just thoroughly embarrassed me like a couple times.
Let's not get into that. I don't have a counseling license. This could go down a dark path.
There was a female officer.
You told me this story before.
Yeah, so there was a female officer walking through the, I don't know, one of the hallways or something like that. And I'm a kid. I love guns, right? So she had a gun on her hip. And then my dad had assumed that I was looking at something else. And he goes, ooh, loud enough for her to hear. I see what you got your eye on there. And then, of course, she turned around and.
Yeah. You blushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was the same one that he told me to act retarded so that we could get in for free. So.
And you've been doing it ever since.
Oh, man.
We just got canceled, by the way.
Probably. That's all right.
You're quoting your dad.
All right, number 2, the shot heard round the world. Y'all know which one that was?
That wasn't. Was it Babe Ruth? No, it wasn't Babe Ruth. It was Ted.
No, this was a game-winning home run hit by New York Giants outfielder and third baseman Bobby Thompson.
No, I don't remember that.
Off Brooklyn Dodgers pitcher Ralph Branca. New York City, October 3rd, 1951.
That would be why.
I wasn't watching ball back then.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one. I just remember hearing
the
shot heard around the world.
It was a great tag.
Yeah. Also came from, come on, history buff. The shot heard around the world.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
All right, we'll come
Boxing?
back to that. No, it was in the American Revolution.
Oh, that's battle at is that in Boston? When they were trying to take their guns and ended up everybody's up against the wall, they're getting mad and the dude accidentally shoots the guy.
Yep.
And then it starts a conflict. I was right there at where they got shot in Boston.
That year?
No.
Oh.
1951, while everybody else was playing baseball.
Right, okay.
And then number one for me is the Texas Rangers Stadium. And Dennis Eckersley was pitching. They were playing the A's, so Rangers versus A's. I could not tell you who won, but Dennis Eckersley threw me a ball.
No way. He look at you in the eye and
yeah, we were in the outfield because we'd go real early. We'd stay there all day, so we'd go watch them warm up out in the outfield. And
this is with your dad?
My dad would take us. A couple of dads would go, and be like 3 or 4 of us kids.
I didn't know this.
We'd go, and we just holler at him, "Hey, Mr. Eckersley," and he turned around and threw me up a ball once.
Yeah,
and I caught it, so that was fun.
That is cool.
Still probably have that ball somewhere, but.
So speaking of baseballs that we've caught,
yeah,
I was at a Padres game, and I caught. My buddy's gonna argue with me that he got it, but I got a foul off of Pujols, who just crested 701. I think now is his home run count.
Yeah,
nice. So, well, what reminded me of Dennis Eckersley is I took my 8-year-old Tate and some friends to a Wind Surge game recently, and one of his buddies is like super into baseball and had never been to a game. So this was his first game, like professional baseball game he's ever been to.
Yeah.
And so we went everywhere in the stadium, and then we went back to the outfield where they have the dugout out there where the pitchers warm up.
The bullpen.
Bullpen. Sorry, yeah. And he kept hollering at this catcher, like,
"Give me a ball.
Hey, number 12 or whatever. Hey, number 12, you throw me a ball?" And did it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this dude's going to get annoyed.
He's going to get a ball thrown to him very fast, right in the face.
But after about 10 minutes of him just kind of, man, should I keep at it? I'm like, man, if you think you can get it, just, I didn't want to burst his bubble or anything. But that catcher finally turned around, smiled at him, threw him a ball.
Yeah.
Dude, he was on top of the world. And that's what reminded me of when I caught my ball from. Because you'd have thought, he hung the moon.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
This is his favorite baseball player now.
Oh, absolutely.
The backup catcher.
Yeah. For the opposing team.
Opposing minor league team.
Right.
Yeah.
He was like, then they were all asking, is it okay? Would it be bad if we didn't root for the Wind Surge? Because he threw me a ball. I'm like, no, we got to root for the Wind Surge. I'm sorry.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Are they, so is that considered AA or AAA?
I don't think they have. Do they have those?
They were AAA, and then they got bumped down during COVID.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Because it used to be kind of a feeder team for the...
the old club, but when they moved on, and then this one's affiliated with the Tampa Bay Rays.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they have 2 or 3 guys get called up this year.
Yeah, but then they made it all the way to the finals of the playoffs. I don't think they won the championship, but
yeah,
it's a good team.
Yeah, it was fun.
So my honorable mention, 1998, May 6th. I was not at the game, but I remember it may have been Broughton. It's like you gotta turn this on. A rookie pitcher by the name of Kerry Woods threw 20 strikeouts in one game versus the Astros, tying the major league record for strikeouts in a game. That dude was on fire, and nobody hit him. The Astros they were like top 5 offenses in baseball that year. They had a lot of great players. He didn't walk a single one of them, and he had one hit that was against him, and you can watch the video right now. The shortstop, literally, it hit his glove, and then he couldn't just quite scoop it up. which everybody in baseball world knows if that happened in like the 8th inning on a no-hitter, that definitely would have been an error. But the scoring person, it was like in the 2nd inning or something like that, the scoring person just called that a base hit. So it was still a one-hit shutout. But struck out 20 dudes. 3 separate times he struck out 5 people in a row. Like just 3 up, 3 down, and then the next 3 up, 2 of those went down, the first 2 went down. I mean, just
wow.
Unbelievable.
What year was that?
98. And I watched some of that game. Dude, the tension was building, and they had the K's signs going up, and they were just getting longer and longer. That was pretty cool. That's against like Bagwell, Biggio. Moises Alou. You remember him?
Moises.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my honorable mention. Matt, you got a good word for us?
No, but I have one more honorable mention before we do the good word.
Okay.
Or one honorable mention. And it would be the Babe Ruth when he called a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the only reason, because we obviously weren't around for that, but the impact of that called shot from when he called it to even as kids playing baseball, you get up to the mound and you point it out.
That, I was thinking about that because I almost went the route of top 3 moments that are still around today. And
right.
Him calling a shot would have been number 1. Kirk Gibson's in his fist motion. Sammy Sosa and how he did that leap after hitting a home run. He did that one leap kind of coming out. And he also he sprinted out to the outfield. There's a few things that there's a couple of other ones that are there too that are like, these, like pitchers. You used to mimic how the pitchers would do their windup. There's certain things in baseball that still carry on today because of actions of a player.
Anything, Nolan Ryan, anything fast back in the day. Oh man, it's like Nolan Ryan. Everybody wanted to pitch as fast.
I can't believe nobody brought up Nolan Ryan beating up Ventura.
I almost.
I remember that. That was awesome.
Almost.
Yeah.
Hey, Jake Taylor called his shot too, and then he bunted. Remember that?
No.
Huh?
I don't even know who Jake Taylor is.
I saw that. I saw the video doing that.
It's from Major League, guys.
Oh.
The movie.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things in that movie that
it's a
carried
great
on.
I'm trying to think.
I'll tell you I went and watched the game.
Major League was
Wild Thing.
Wild Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's somebody who actually did that in real life.
Oh, really?
The announcer in the movie is Yul Brenner?
Yeah.
No, it's not him.
No. Who is it?
Anyway,
I can't remember.
He's the guy that calls the games in Milwaukee for the Brewers. And I'm at a Brewers game.
Yeah.
And I hear his voice and I'm like, well, who's playing Major League at the and then I'm like, oh, he's actually working here. What's his name? Bob Uecker.
Bob Uecker, that's it.
Anyway, it's a good baseball movie. But I heard his voice. I'm like, we're in a movie right now. He's like, no.
Nobody's listening anyway.
All right, good word, Matt.
All right, good word. Chapter 39 or day 39 from Chosen Book 2. Only got 1 day left after this, and then we'll move on to something else. But it comes out of Matthew 9, verse 35 through 36. Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. So, Jesus showed compassion to basically everybody. Didn't matter who they were. He showed compassion. And I find myself more recently, I had I've noticed the year that I took off of not seeing anything negative on social media, I feel like I had more compassion for people. I really do. And now I find myself not having as much compassion.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to reverse that to be more Christ-like myself, because that is an issue I see with myself, because there's a difference between, being compassionate and holding someone accountable and saying, hey, you're wrong, but not just saying that you're wrong or whatever, but also having compassion for them in their
right
in their ways or whatever it is. And
like
so,
if somebody were to just be like, hey, give me a ball. Hey, give me a ball for like 10 minutes.
and then
going and throwing a ball in their face, or like turn around and saying, hey, I'm going to make this kid's day.
Yeah.
That's compassion.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, oh, that'd annoy the heck out of me.
Yeah. Well, for me, I mean, the closer my relationship with Christ is, the more compassion I have on people. Because when you're around people, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are, right? That's kind of how the saying goes. So you want to surround yourself by people who you want to be like. And having a relationship with Christ, a close relationship with him, he's going to rub off on you just like anybody else is.
Right.
So the better your walk is, the closer you are with him, the more compassionate you're going to be able to be.
Look at him through his eyes and not yours.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, everybody has tough times or down times and stuff like that, and I mean, we're all subject to it because of that's the world we live in, and for me, a lot of times I'll hear something, I'll be like, and, like there's zero compassion in that, and so working on that myself, just because I may have been through some instances that I think are worse than what somebody else is going through doesn't mean that it's not as big of a deal to that person.
Right.
So trying to look at it through their eyes, like you said, and look at it through Christ's eyes instead of mine.
Yeah. And you kind of know on a different level what a human is capable of enduring and still being okay mentally and getting along physically.
Sometimes, but we're all our makeup. Our makeups are different, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's for your default ought to be a big deal, And
it is my default.
Yeah,
like to
big deal
to a fault.
Yeah,
a lot of times
my default fault, like your Pinnacle Peak.
But anyway, that's the good word, compassion.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. That's
like
challenging.
That. Yep.
Not the easiest thing to do. All right, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.